Hi Bobcats, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on tables, graphs, and equations. We are going to take a graph, create a table, and then from the table write one-step equations. So please make sure as you're watching the video that you're taking good notes. Okay, from a graph, you can identify if the relationship is going to be additive or multiplicative. So we learned that if the line of our graph goes through the origin, then it is multiplicative. If it does not go through the origin, then it is going to be an additive relationship. Once you do that, then you can choose some points on your graph, create an XY table, and then use the table to write your equation. And they're one-step equations, so the format we use is y equals x plus b for additive relationships, and y equals x kx for multiplicative relationships. Let's get to practicing. Okay, look at the table. Right away, you can tell it does not go through the origin because the origin is the 0, 0 point, right? So it's right here, that's the origin. Our graph, if we draw a line through the points, it will not go through the origin. That means that it is going to be additive, which means this is the equation form that we are going to use. So let's pick 2 points on our graph. I like to pick the ones that are on the lines because it's kind of easier to read, easier to work with, but you don't have to. If I go with this first point right here, well, the x value is a 0, and what is the y? If we go up, the y is going to be at 5. Let me erase it so you can see. Okay, if you look at that, the numbers are going by 4s, but there's a line that's halfway in between. So there's a line between 0 and 4. There's a line between 4 and 8. So the actual individual lines go by 2. So 4, this one would be 6, and what's halfway between 4 and 6? 5. So that's why that ordered pair for that point would be 0, 5. If I go up to the next one, this is a 6. Halfway between 4 and 6 is going to be a 5. So that's the x value. I come over here to the y-axis. Halfway between 8 and 12 is 10. So that would be the y value. So knowing this is additive, what are we adding to x to get the y? Well, if I have a 0, I can add a 5. That will give me the 5 value for y. If I add 5 to this 5, then I get a 10. So that's the rule. We are adding 5. So the equation is going to be y equals x plus 5. Remember, the x and the y will stay x, it will stay y. It's that b value that you're replacing with the number you're adding. You're replacing it with the constant. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, look at the graph. First, identify, is it multiplicative or is it additive? Well, here's your origin. Does the line of the graph go through the origin? Yes, it does. That means it's multiplicative. And we're going to use this equation form right here, y equals kx. So we're looking for the k, which is the coefficient to x. That's what we're looking for. What do we need to multiply x by? So let's go ahead, graph 2 or plot 2 points in your table. It doesn't matter which 2 points. I like to do the first 2, so I'm going to do x value of 1, y value of 2. So the x is 1, the y is 2, and I'll do the next point, which is going to be a 2 for x and a 4 for y. Now, looking at the table, think about what you can multiply 1 by to make a 2. Well, you can multiply it by 2. Check it. If I multiply 2 by 2, do I get 4? Yes, we do. So the rule is to multiply by 2. So let's write our equation. Y stays a y. K is the coefficient, the number we're multiplying by, which is 2, and the x stays an x. So your equation is y equals 2x. Y equals 2 times x. Okay, I want you to pause the video, solve this one on your own. Make sure you're looking at the graph to determine if it's multiplicative or additive, because that will help you get your equation. Once you've got your equation, come back and check your work. Okay, did you get y equals 3x as your equation? If you did, awesome job. Okay, looking at the line of our graph, it definitely goes through the origin, which means it's multiplicative. So you know your equation form is going to be y equals kx. We're looking for that coefficient, the number that we're multiplying by. Now on this particular graph, it doesn't have the points for us. It just gives us the line. So we need to find the points on the line that we want to use. And it's always easier to use the points that meet at the corner instead of meeting in the middle of the box, because that can be kind of hard. So I noticed that right here, I can keep going up. Those are 2 points that actually meet in a nice place to where the x and the y values will be whole numbers. So I took the first one. We could have also used 0, 0. I didn't use 0, 0. You could have used the origin since it goes through the origin. But I did these 2 points, which was at 1, 3 and at 2, 6. Okay, 1, 3 and 2, 6. So I put those in my table. Knowing that it was multiplicative, I asked myself, what can I multiply 1 by to make 3? And that's 3. If I do the same thing with a 2 and multiply it by 3, I do get 6. So my rule is to multiply by 3, which is where we got y equals 3x. Okay, this is the last example. Same thing. Go ahead and pause it. Determine if it's multiplicative or additive. Write your equation, come back and check your work. Okay, did you get y equals x minus 5? If you did, awesome job. If not, take a quick look at this. You can tell that the line of your graph does not go through the origin, therefore it is multiplicative. We're going to use, therefore it's additive, not multiplicative, additive. We're going to use the equation form of y equals x plus b. So there were no points on our line, so we got to create our own points. There were several points you could have used. I decided to use these 2 right here, which left me at 20 for the x value, 15, because halfway between 10 and 20 is 15, 15 for the y, so that was my first order pair. My second point was 30, 25. Okay, knowing that this is additive, I needed to say, what do I add to the 20 to make the 15? Well, I noticed that I'm actually getting smaller. I'm going from 20 to 15, it's getting smaller. So we're not adding, we're decreasing, which is subtracting. So I could subtract 5 from 20 to make 15, check it, subtract 5 from 30, I do get the 25. So my rule is to subtract 5. So my equation is y equals x minus 5. Okay, great job, Bobcats.